Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel, or welcome for the first time. My name is Juan, and this is the place where we are all artists. We're basically painting the poster of Shin Godzilla, but it's actually very easy. Let me show you what we're using. I'm gonna be using 3 brushes, okay? So I'm just gonna call them large, medium, small. Okay, but whatever you have on hand is fine. I'm going to be using red, white, and black. And then of course I have my paper plates, I have some napkins to help me dry, and I have my water. I'm actually also going to use a little bit of a sponge. So let's get started. So I'm going to start with a medium-sized brush, okay? And I'm going to draw an outline of Godzilla, and it's going to be in red paint. The reason why I'm going to do red instead of black is because I want to make the background first, basically. I'm going to make the silhouette of Godzilla, but I'm going to paint the background. Okay, so now I'm going to make a very basic Godzilla silhouette. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I don't have too much. I don't want a big glob of paint. So let me start actually with the head. So I don't have to make all of the little bumps or anything yet, because that's all going to be added with the black paint. So I'm just going to make a silhouette. Okay, so if you're following along with me, you don't have to worry too much about like all the bumps on Godzilla's skin or anything like that. It's actually very, very basic, almost like a little kid drawing of a dinosaur for now. There's the mouth, okay? Then we go around this way. And again, like I said, it actually does look a lot like just a little kid drawing of Godzilla. So far that's all we have. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to use my larger brush. This one I do have to loosen it up. I have to wash it. I hit the bottom of the cup many, many times. And then I dry it really, really well. I dry it really well so that it doesn't drip. So now I'm gonna take some red, and all I'm doing is just painting everything in the back, okay? Just painting the whole background like this. So I'll speed this up a little bit just so that I can move on to the next step. Of course, you could always pause the video. And if you're painting with me, I hope that you just enjoy art as much as I do. I hope that you put on whatever your favorite music is in the background to just have fun painting the king of the monsters, the OG. So, by the way, you could always comment, of course, any comments you like about Godzilla, about the MonsterVerse, or Shin Godzilla. One of my favorite of all, actually, Shin Godzilla. Godzilla -1. Anything at all. The American Godzilla by Roland Emmerich. or anything at all. What is your favorite Godzilla? How about that? Now, I am showing just one layer of paint, but I am going to add another one in a little bit, because as you can see, even though the paint is nice and strong, it's still, because it's only one layer, it's a little bit see-through. And this canvas, you see, had a little mark there. It wasn't like a brand new canvas. You know, I always try to recycle any canvas that has any kind of little mark on it. So yes, that's one layer only. I'm gonna make sure I do another layer, okay, of paint, of this same red paint. Make sure that there's no little spaces that have too much paint. I want it to be even. I also don't want I don't really want any streaks. But yeah, that's one layer. So I'll add another layer in a little. Okay, so this brush, I'm actually gonna just put it into water for now. Okay, and I'm gonna move on to my medium brush again. Okay, wash it and dry it really well. Okay, and now I'm going to use some black paint. Okay, because I'm gonna paint Godzilla now himself. So I take some black paint and I am going to use my medium brush to do the outline first. There's a reason I do the outline first. It's because I want to stay within the lines. Now I can start like making bumps because of course Godzilla is a very bumpy kind of guy, right? So just making sure that it's not fully like a straight line, like he's made out of, you know, like metal or anything. He's clearly organic and he has all sorts of bumps. So I just kind of move my brush along and kind of just try to make this bumpy. Now, this part is the only part that is kind of flat, and the way you make it flat is just press firmly like this. It's a little bit flatter because it's the inside of the mouth. Okay, so let's make a spike right up here. So I have my brush and I'm gonna try to make it flat. You see how the brush has a flat shape? It's kind of like my hand. It's flat like my hand. So I'm gonna try to make a sharp couple of lines. The way you make a sharp line is not by doing flat like this. This is gonna make a very broad shape. So you make a flat line by using it like this, kind of like a cutting tool. So I'm gonna use it like this to make a sharp line. So right here is the first spike. So it kind of lines up with the bottom of the mouth right here. It goes, I could even mark it. Then the spike, the first spike goes up like that. It's pretty short. And then you put like these lines like that. Okay, it's actually very simple. So now you want to connect these. So you just connect it to this. Connect this one to the head. Make it this thicker, I should say. Give it another little spike there. Make this a little thicker. Give it another little spike in there, another one right here. Right, he's very spiky, just like that, okay? And then he has another one, but it's kind of mostly off camera. So you can just make the spikes like this, right? And then you just thicken them up. Okay, so that's it for the spikes. I mean, how easy is that? What I'm gonna do now is fill in all of this with black paint. So I'm gonna move back to my big brush so that I can go ahead and add everything inside, but black paint. And the reason is just because it's much more it's much faster, and it's just it comes out a little bit more uniform because there's such large brush strokes. So you won't see all these little brush strokes on the canvas because the brush strokes are much thicker and fill in so much more space. Okay, so now I put my brush in the water, my big brush, and I'm going to actually just add a little bit of mask to Godzilla, very, very little. So I have my medium brush again. I'm gonna take some black paint. Just gonna, looking at the reference, I realized that Godzilla needs more bumps here. Yeah, he has a more blunt kind of face. That's it actually. That was it when it came to that. Yeah, that's it. Maybe a little bit here. But I hope that you guys are enjoying the paint class so far. I really want to invite you to subscribe to the channel. We love Godzilla, and well, I love Godzilla, and painting or drawing, making tutorials about Godzilla, and also lots of other characters and creatures. Just take a look at our tutorials. Just for one thing, our tutorials alone have tons of how-to videos on some of our favorite movies. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give another layer to this background, but I have to let this dry. So I'm gonna let this dry for at least 15 minutes. So just a little bit about Shin Godzilla. It was directed by Hideaki Anno and Shinji Higuchi, and it's actually the 31st film in the Godzilla franchise. So here I'm almost done adding the second layer of red. You know, when you paint anything really, another layer, even 3 layers, 4 layers, however you need, is best practice in my opinion, so that the colors could just be a lot richer. Here I'm only gonna add 2 because it's nice and strong. Okay, so now I'm gonna move on to my tiny little brush. I'm gonna wet that also, dry it really well. And I'm gonna add some sharp teeth, okay, inside the mouth of Godzilla. So the teeth don't have to be like perfectly straight. They could be all sorts of jagged and uneven or not perfectly lined up. Put some at the bottom. Gonna raise this a little bit. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use my medium brush to make a gray shade, a shade of gray. So I'm gonna take some white paint and add it to my paper plate, and then I'm going to use my brush to mix it to make a gray color. So we're going to start off with this kind of dark gray right here. We're going to make a couple of shades, but first we'll start with this dark gray. And I'm going to use actually a different tool altogether. I'm going to use this sponge. I use this sponge. It's just a sponge, an art sponge or a sponge you get from your from, you know, you could cut it, the one that cleans the dishes. So then you just start dabbing some light hitting Godzilla. This is light, and the sponge is good because of the shape. And it's fast. Just gotta make sure it doesn't go into the red over there. We'll use the brush too. We just wanna just kind of show you these neat little these neat little tricks on how to, you know, add something that looks like it's texture, like it has texture. And the good thing about it is that if you were to not like how this is coming out, you can simply just erase it, or not erase it, sorry, paint over it with the black paint. But I think it looks great. To have these so they're a little bit less pronounced, maybe. There, that's it for that for now. So now we're gonna go a little lighter, and I'm gonna take a little bit more white, and it's gonna be lighter. And this time I will use my brush. I'm gonna use this one. So I went a little lighter, and I'm gonna just add hints of lighter, hints of more light, that is lighter, more bright, hitting this head. The top, the very top. Definitely these spikes right here, like that, that. Gives it all sorts of texture, guys. What do you think? We're gonna go lighter a little bit, just a tiny bit. Actually, that looks good. I'm not gonna go lighter. What I am gonna do is make some teeth that are darker, the dark gray. So should have done the teeth first, but it's fine. I'm gonna wipe my brush. I don't have to wash it. Actually, so I'm gonna go back to my small brush. I'm gonna try to make more of this dark gray that I had here. The dark one, not the light one. We need the teeth to be very, very dark. And make fangs. Teeth. Some of them could be connected to the ones that we already added. And I'm looking at his picture. His teeth are very, very uneven and even like startling to look at. It's a big, big mouth. I'll make sure some of these connect also. But the bottom teeth are definitely smaller than the top. Now for the eye, it's in here, and it's just small like that. And it's like a backwards letter C. Very, very small. I'm gonna go ahead and just add some of this gray down here. I didn't add too much. I'm just gonna use the same little brush. It's not a big deal. Just to add hints of color. Now, we're not fully done, okay? There's still one more little thing. I like to add all sorts of details, especially when it looks good like this. I wanna go darker. Darker, it's gonna be right between the dark gray we made and black. And the tool we're gonna use is the sponge again. It's gonna be very, very dark, almost black. That's the whole point of it. I'm gonna use the sponge, and there's all sorts of details around throughout, but they're much darker, they're darker. So here I'm adding like some kind of like lines that he has, because like all sorts of muscles. Whereas here underneath, it's kind of like just dots, or like scales. Let me not say dots, scales. They're very, very subtle, very faint, barely visible. There's some here, but I will leave the right. I'll leave around the eye. I'll leave it dark so that he has a socket. But the darker, the better, honestly, because then it looks like it's in there, but it's shadow. So there's our Godzilla right there. You could sign your artwork. You can just be so proud of it because you worked hard on it, paid homage to a great character, legendary at this point. It was a pleasure to paint with you, and hope to see you soon. Please don't forget to subscribe and also hit the notification bell. And of course, make sure you like the video. Thank you so much. Thank you once again, everybody, and please don't forget to subscribe.